In this video, I'll be showing you how you can upload files and images to your n8n and chat with them. So these are the topics that I'll be touching upon today. So without any further ado, let's just begin with a demo. Right. So this is a simple website that I built, and here is our chatbot. And over here, as usual, we can have textual conversations. That's pretty normal. And after that, we can start uploading files from here. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly select a simple text file maybe. So this one is a very basic text file which talks about a system prompt for defining a appointment booking agent, as you can see. So I'm just going to upload this and ask a very simple question saying what's this. So it just came up with the summary, right? It looks like the content you provided is a set of instructions or guidelines for an appointment assistant, outlines how to assist users in booking appointments and things like that. And this time I'm just going to upload a simple file, sorry, an image, something like this. I'm just going to ask, what's this? And then it just came up with the response saying this image appears to show a beautiful coastline landscape with vibrant blue waters and rocky cliffs. It looks like a beach or cove, possibly a popular tourist destination. Yeah, perfect. And this time, what I'm going to do is not just one, I'm going to upload two files. So one text file or maybe one PDF. I choose this PDF. Let me show you what this PDF is about. It's this one. It's types of data in PDFs and extraction tools. So this talks about different tools for extracting text for RAG. And along with that, I'll probably choose an image. I'll go with this. I'll choose both the image and also, so talking about images, this n8n logo. And for the PDF, I'm using the one that I showed you. So let me just ask, what are these? What are these? Yep. So it says the content you provided appears to have an overview of different tools and techniques for extracting various types of data from PDF files. Yeah, it talks about the file first. And then as for the image, it features the logo for n8n, which is an open source workflow automation tool that allows users to connect various apps. And perfect. So it basically read both the files that we just provided and then came up with the response, right? Perfect. So this is how you can have conversations with your n8n chat agent, not just in the form of text, but also you can upload files and images and ask questions on them, right? Perfect. So this was about the demo. So let's now continue with the next part, which is the workflow walkthrough. So we'll see the backend part of it. We've seen the front end, which is the widget where we upload files and images, and the backend we process the files and images and answer user questions, right? So this is how the backend, I mean the n8n workflow looks like, which talks to our front end. So don't get intimidated by this. It's pretty simple if you actually understand it. I'll explain each one of these step by step. So starting from the high level overview. So this is our agent, which is responsible for answering questions and all the other things that we have in between, right? In between the chat trigger node and our agent is responsible for handling files or images that we send from the widget, right? So let's actually begin from here. This is the very basic chat trigger node, right, which accepts user inputs or user queries. And after that, we have this code block, a little code block. So what I'll do is let me just quickly go through the executions. And I think it's much easier if I just explain this way, right? So starting from this code block. So let me just explain what's happening over here, right? So if I just click on this JSON, so this is how we receive the data from the front end, right? So this is the question that user asks in the chat box, and then this is the list of all the files that user provides. And if they don't provide anything, it's just going to be an empty array, right? So what we do is next we use the small little code to basically extract the binary data that we are getting from the request, right? The reason why we do this is very simple. That's because there's no straightforward way right now in order for us to deal with binaries in n8n. So that's why I just had to write the small code to extract only the binaries. Right. So this is, as you can see in this line of code, takes a look at the binaries, right? If there are any. If yes, then we just put it into a small little object called as files. And if we don't find any binaries, then just return everything else as usual. Right? And what happens in the output is, as you can see, it extracts all the necessary data from the binary like MIME type, file extension, and along with that, it extracts the data. Right? So this data is in base 64 format. So we're going to use this further down the line in our workflow to extract the actual content from this base 64 version, right? So this is what happens in this block. So it receives the request, extracts the binaries, and then puts it into a list where it contains the base 64 version of the content of any file that we provide. And after that, we pass it through the split out node, which takes the list and again just outputs in a format that we can provide it into our loop node. So that's what it does. And after this, in this loop node, we're just going through the data that we just got from the previous node. And then we have the switch block, which basically is responsible for taking different paths based on the file types for further processing. Right, so I've defined some rules here for images and plain text, PDFs, CSVs, JSON, and things like that. So depending on file type, it just takes different paths so that we can extract the content from the original file. So this is what happens after that. So the first set of blocks are responsible for converting the base 64 data, right? Remember, we get the base 64 data from here. So we just pass everything down, and then from here, so these blocks, what they do is they just convert the base 64 back again to binary. So that's what it's doing. So if you can see, it's taking in the base 64 data and then converting it back to file, which is basically binary type. And then we have these built-in nodes from n8n, which are extract from file, extract from PDFs, extract from CSVs. So what these nodes do is they take in binary and then extract the actual content from it. Right. So this is what happens. If I just take a look at this one, so you can see. So we took this base 64 and converted it back to binary, and then we just provided that binary to this node, which extracts PDF from it. So it took this binary and then extract the actual content, right? So this is the actual PDF content. So this is how we do this. And then once we extract the original content, once everything is done, this done path gets triggered once we loop through all the files, and then it goes to this aggregate node. So this is an intermediary node again, so that we can just put everything into a single list and just provide that to our agent. So that's what this is for. So we just take that and then put everything into a single list like this called as extracted file. And then what we do is we just provide that to our agent, and then our agent here, it basically injects the file content into the prompt and then just sends it over to LLM. So this is how it works. So you can see a small little code block here which reads through the extracted file and injects the file content only if it's present. If it's not, then it's just going to ignore it, right? And that's how it works. And talking about this small little toggle here, automatically pass through binary images, I'll talk about this. So so that's the first step, which is this is how you handle the files that you upload from the front end and just pass it to the LLM to get the response, right? And one most important point to keep in mind is the way we process images and files are entirely different. So the way we process images is by following this structure over here. So it's really important to understand this. So if we just go to since I'm using GPT-4o mini models, I'm going to use OpenAI's documentation to take a look at how we can send images to these models, right? So if I just scroll down a bit, and over here in the documentation, it says this is how we need to pass the image data, right? So that it can look at it and answer questions. So inside the content we have type, text, and this is where our question goes. And then this is how we need to add the image data, right? So if you just try to put the image inside the prompt, like for example, without following this structure, if you just put everything into one prompt and then send it over, then it's just going to get confused and think that everything is a text, right? And then it's not going to answer properly. So that's why we need to separate these two. So the question is going to be in a separate section, and then the image data, which is basically the base 64 version of the image, is going to be in a separate object like this. So we have to define like type is image URL and then image URL. Here this is where we pass the URL of the image, which is basically the base 64 data, right, that we extract. And then so this is how we need to follow the structure in order for us to tell LLM that we are passing an image and you need to take a look at it and answer the question whatever's in here, right? So this is how we process images. And talking about files is just full file upload. What we do is, if I just take a look at this, so we just inject the file content right inside our prompt, our user prompt here, so that it knows what it's reading through, and then it's going to answer question based on that, right? So if I just take a look at the one of our previous executions and show you what exactly has been sent. So if you see, this is the prompt, and you can see that list of file contents, and this is where I'm injecting the file content, right? So this is the file actual file content here. And then even if I just scroll down a bit further, so it's all file content here. And then you can see once the file content has ended, we are now um, uh, just adding our image data. See, it's in the same format, right? Type image URL and URL, and we have this base 64 version of our image. So we're following the same structure uh, that that we see in this documentation here, right? So in order for us to achieve this structure, we need to make sure that this toggle is enabled, right? So there's no straightforward or just manually for us to define the structure in n8n. So what we have to do is just enable this toggle and then pass in the binary data of the image. Then n8n automatically just takes the image and puts it into this structure, right? So that's how it works. So yeah, if I show you about the image, right, what we do is we just pass through this first block which handles image, and as usual it just takes in the base 64 data of the image and then converts it into binary, and then just sends it over through this aggregate node, and then it receives the binary from there, and then it's just automatically going to inject that into the right structure that we need, and then just send it over to LLM. So this is how we process different files. So you just have to remember these 2 points, which is the way we handle images and files are completely different. So that's how we do it in n8n. So hopefully I made it clear, right? And this was about PDFs, and we have a couple more other types here which handles different types of files. So for example, text file, PDF, CSVs, JSONs, XMLs, XLSX, which is Excel sheets, and we have RTF as well, which is rich text files. So these are the ones which I could find built into n8n, so that I can just add these and get everything ready. So this is like a base template that you can consider and you can extend on top of it. So if you're looking for something and it's missing from this template, then of course you can just add that, or if you don't need any of these, then you can just remove from this, right? So you can just consider this as a blueprint or a base template, and you can extend on top of it. Yeah. So this was about the workflow walkthrough, and I hope I was clear. And now let's move on to the next section, which is how can you set it up yourself, right? So like I said, the template is available for you to download. You can just get started, and you can adjust and adapt with your existing workflows, right? So like I said, whatever's in between the agent and the webhook trigger node is responsible for handling files. So you can just add this part in between and make changes to the kind of files that you want to process. and then just keep the rest as it is, and then make sure you provide the file data to your existing agent, and then everything should work fine. And how can you set it up, right? How can you set it up both the front end and the back end, where you can upload files from the front end and process it on the back end on n8n. So setting up using n8n chat ui, it's super simple. So n8n chat ui, if you just go to the website, so it's a tool which allows you to create beautiful looking chat widgets like this, and you can connect this to your n8n agents all without writing any code, right? So what you can do is just click on sign into your account, and once you're here, you can just create a new widget from here on this by clicking this button, let's say video demo. And once I do that, I get a widget right here with the initial set of configurations, right? And I can of course change this as usual, update this and to match my brand or website, and it's going to reflect that in real time. And if I go to the Windows section and scroll down a bit, here you can see the file upload settings, and you can just enable this. As soon as you enable it, you can see the paperclip icon in the text feed, on clicking which you can start uploading files. And of course you have other options as well, like you can select the kind of files that you want to accept. You can choose the file extensions, right? And once you're happy with all this, you can set a maximum file size. You can set a limit on the maximum file size that user can upload, right? So 15 MB, I'm setting it to 15 MB. And after that, we have a maximum number of files at once. So you can set a limit on how many number of files a user can upload at once. So probably I'm just setting it to 2. So once I'm happy with this design, right, and I can just click on save. And as usual, I can just copy paste uh, this section of code. Let me just copy this. So this is where the file upload configuration gets added into the code. And then here we have to replace this webhook URL with our webhook URL chat. I mean n8n chat webhook URL. So this, just copy this and make sure this is set to this is turned on, which is chat publicly available, and the mode is set to embedded chat, right? And after that, you just need to make sure that this toggle is enabled, which basically sets the workflow to active mode. And then just have to add this over here. And now if you just refresh, you can see the customizations that we did on the dashboard is appearing here. And as usual, I can just start having conversations with it. And then since we have also enabled the file upload option, we can start uploading so all those kinds of files that we have allowed from the dashboard, right? So you can do that. Perfect. So this is how easy it is to create a new widget that match your brand and enable the file upload option, and then connect this newly created widget to your n8n agent. And all you have to do is just copy the embed code that was given to you on the dashboard and paste it into your website, and that's it. So that's how easy and simple it is to assemble the front end and the back end and get up and running with a beautiful looking chatbot on your website, right? And if you're not using n8nchatio.com, that's fine too. You can build your own front end, right? All you have to do is just make sure to process the files and make sure to send it over in the binary format, and then you can process it on the back end using the same template, and then just everything should be working fine as usual, right? So yep, if you don't want to deal with that hassle of dealing with files, then I urge you to take a look at n8nchatui.com. It's super simple, right? Going to the next section, which is possible upgrades and improvements that we could do to our current system. So first point is advanced parsing. So integrate with unstructured or llama parse to handle complex documents more effectively. So what I mean by that is, as you can see over here, I'm using the built-in n8n nodes to process different kinds of files, right? If you want to have more accuracy in the file extraction, right, and also your files or content is little complex. For example, if you consider PDFs, it might have forms, tables, charts, and everything. So I don't think the current structure or the current setup that we have handles it very well. It's good at handling text. It's good at handling or extracting plain text, but I don't think it reads the other kinds of data very well. So in that case, you can just use third-party services like Unstructured or LlamaPass to send over the PDFs and then extract the data that you want. And then once it's done, you can just provide that to your agent, and then it's going to answer the user question. So all you have to do is probably just delete this node and use the HTTP request node to make a request to those services and pass the right form of data. Mostly, I believe they accept base 64. And since you're getting it from here, you can just use it. And then once you receive the data back, you can just pass it to your AI agent, and then everything should work fine. Right. And then the second point is support for more file types. As usual, like I said, you can extend the current workflow to support additional formats and adapt it to your specific needs. So whatever I could find on n8n's built-in nodes list, I just use all of them. And if you don't really want most of these, you can just drop them. Or if you're looking for something else that's not already present here, then of course you can add it or extend it based on this base structure. And there are some other important points that I wanted to highlight, which is when working with images, make sure the LLM model you're using supports image input, right? So make sure your model that you're using supports image inputs, which takes an image input. So you can do that by just going to any of your LLM providers. So since I'm using OpenAI here, I'm just going to go to their official page and take a look at all the different models that they have. So let's say I decided to go with 4 mini maybe. So that's what I'm using in this build also. So if I take a look over here, it says input and it says text and image. So by this, we can be sure that this model accepts both image and text as input and does not accept audio. Right. So similarly, you can just check for the model that you're trying to use and make sure it supports the image input. Right. And then ensure the model you're using supports a large context window when processing large files, right? So this is needed because remember, while processing files, what we do is we just take the file content and put everything into the prompt, right? So we need to make sure that the model that we're using underneath supports a larger context window so that we can stuff large chunk of text into it and then it doesn't break our request, right? And that's it. Thank you so much. And I hope you learned something new from this video. And if you have any questions, just feel free to let me know. And you can also check out n8nchatui.com and launch your widgets in minutes for free, like I said. And work if you want to work with me to build practical workflows, automations, or AI solutions, or if you're totally unsure on how AI can benefit you or your business, you can just book a no cost consultation call using the link below. So this is the link, and this will also be present in the description section. You can uh, take a look at it from there as well, and then you can download all the resources that I've used in this video. Mostly I think it's just the n8n workflow. It's this template. You can download this template from the description section and you can start using it. And after that, also let me know what you would like to see next. And I think that's it for today, and I'll see you again in another video. Until then, take care. Good day.